people think, oh, the devil's after me. It's like, no, man, you planted that. And so I don't want to plant stuff where I get weeds or get things that I don't want to plant things that bring destruction. I want to plant things that bring life. Welcome to the Getting Better podcast. Thanks so much for hanging out with us and choosing to get better. And, you know, what's great about getting better is just the joy you experience, you know, because I ain't the same I was yesterday, but I'm better today. And so is Gage, aren't you, Gage?
I'm getting better. I tell you what else brings joy: summertime.
Summertime.
Yeah, and we're right in the middle of summertime right now, so that's exciting.
I'm also sweating all the time.
Yeah, that's not always the best thing, but you know what? I prefer the heat. I prefer the heat.
That's a great debate, and I won't get into it.
It is a good one.
So in college, if it was below 15 degrees, I didn't go to class.
Below 15?
Yeah, 15.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah, I'm not going.
No.
Out of respect for all teachers, what you had to teach was very important. But 15 degrees was just, I couldn't bear it.
Yeah.
So, but saying that, I would have walked to class if it was above 90, right? So I think that's kind of where I land on the argument is like.
It's pretty good, actually.
I can walk, even though I'd be sweaty in class above 90 for sure. But
you can make it.
I can make it 15.
Yeah.
And I was on a small campus. It wasn't like I was a big campus. It was a small campus. So just like, I'm not walking in anywhere at 15 degrees.
No.
So saying that, but I wasn't the best student, so don't take that as advice.
Yeah.
But today, I do think we got some good stuff because it's from the Bible, not from opinions of necessarily us, but it's, and I think it's really good. Gage, I'll let you read it.
I think what you said is best. It's from the Bible, you know, and because really we don't really know anyway, right? It's just the Bible, and all we're trying to do is grow. And so
I'm just trying to listen to what Jesus said, man, apply it, grow and become more like Him.
We're trying to grow, and you know what else we want to do? We want to sow things that are good, right? Maybe things that God would want us to sow, or maybe as Christians we should sow and or plant. And here's what I mean by that. The verse that we're talking about is in Galatians 6. 7 through 8 says, "Don't be deceived, God cannot be mocked." Then it says, "A man reaps what he sows. Whoever sows to please their flesh, from the flesh will reap destruction. But whoever sows to please the Spirit, from the Spirit will reap eternal life." And that sounds like a pretty good thing to reap.
Absolutely, man. And the reaping and sowing language is maybe weird to people who didn't grow up in church, maybe, or who are younger and maybe haven't heard this language before. But sowing is basically planting, and reaping is what you're harvesting, what you're basically picking, what you're getting at the end of what you planted. And I think there's another translation that says it good.
I'm a fan of the Message translation, all right, because it makes me feel like it's just me and you talking.
Well, first off, you're going to get clipped and corrected. It's a paraphrase.
That's true. Message paraphrase. You're right. I'm sorry. Message paraphrase. And that is true though. When you're quoting scripture and things like that, yeah, this is a paraphrase, but so it's not necessarily word for word, but the context stays the same.
The paraphrase kind of helps you understand it.
Yeah, to me it feels like two dudes talking, Yeah. I mean, that's why I like it. But here's what it says. It says, "Don't be misled. No one makes a fool of God. What a person plants, he will harvest. The person who plants selfishness, ignoring the needs of others and ignoring God, harvests a crop of weeds. And all he'll have to show for his life is weeds. But the one who plants in response to God, letting God's Spirit do the growth work in him, harvests a crop of real life, eternal life." And I don't want to harvest weeds.
No.
Don't want any weeds.
No weeds.
I hate the weeds.
So I grew up helping my grandparents in the garden. You know what the worst part of any kind of gardening stuff?
Pulling the weeds?
Weeds.
Oh, yeah.
It's terrible, man. And it's like they grow fast, they like multiply, and like that's the same way when you sow selfishness, when you sow things that are not of God, you get this type of weed stuff that can really overtake your life.
Like that.
Yeah.
I just snapped, in case you didn't hear that. Just like that.
Yeah.
Quickly. Like you're talking about with the weeds growing. They sprout overnight.
Yeah, and they're everywhere. And before you know it, you can lose control, and they can choke out even the good stuff you might have planted.
Absolutely.
Gosh, man,
we went into some stuff I didn't even know was going to be there.
Which one is it?
Bless him, Lord.
Yeah,
That's
man.
right.
I mean, just it's good stuff. And the words that replace sowing and reaping were planting and harvesting. And so basically what this is, I've heard a preacher say it this way. This is a biblical law that you can't get away from.
Yeah.
It's like gravity. Like you can't just get away. Like you're going to get out what you put in.
Right.
Like whatever you planted will sprout up later in your life. And that's how you treat people, how you operate in life. Are you lazy at work? That probably will affect your next job if people want to hire you or not, if you get a reference. Or how do you, maybe you're dating people, and if you date somebody wrong, if you're mean to somebody, that'll probably,
Absolutely.
You're probably not going to get recommended to so-and-so's friend because of the way you treated that person.
Yeah.
And so because you planted. Now, there is grace and there is forgiveness and there is God can redeem anything. But like a lot of times people think, oh, the devil's after me. It's like, no, man, you planted that. And so I don't want to plant stuff where I get weeds or get things that I don't want to plant things that bring destruction. I want to plant things that bring life.
Yeah, and I love this analogy too, and I love that Paul writes it here in Galatians because, when me and you're talking, and if you're trying to explain something to me, or if I'm trying to explain something to you, you're going to use an analogy, right? It's the same thing here. He's using just something to explain, hey, this is what's going to happen, and the way you just broke it down with whether you're unkind to others, or you're lazy, or unfaithful, or whatever it is, that comes up later, right?
Yeah.
Or in other words, it's going to be reaped later. And I think that was a great example how, if you are to someone and they're trying to recommend you to their friend, probably not going to.
No.
And
not that we would have that issue, but
no. But there's so many actions that come to mind, man, of things that we could just so easily even like rudeness,
mm-hmm.
and even if it's just a moment of it.
Yeah.
Maybe just a moment of it, but I still think it's something we'll reap later.
Yeah, I think just to explain a little bit better, it's like if I have watermelon seeds and I plant those, I'm not going to get tomatoes. Like people are wanting something that they never planted. And like if you want to reap something later, you have to sow the right seed.
Yeah.
And like God's grace does a lot of great, crazy things in life, and he can breathe on it and take things further than he ever could. But the fact is you can actually you have the ability to plant blessings later in life that you can reap. And you have control over your actions today. I'll give, for example, I got a couple examples, actually. Let's do a good one that's out of my control. My dad is, in my opinion, a really good dude. Really good father.
Debatable.
No,
I'm just kidding. No. He is. He's awesome.
I'll never buy your pizzas, buddy.
He's absolutely awesome.
No, I love him. I'm so thankful for him, his guidance, his love, all that stuff. Great guy, great father. I once got, more than once, I've gotten pulled over for, I ran a stop sign one time, and this guy pulled me over, and he said, "Aren't you St. John's son?" I was like, "In fact, I am actually." And, I didn't know why I was getting pulled over. I must have rolled through a stop sign. And that gentleman ended up just giving me a warning. And I can't help but think if my dad wasn't a good man, a good father, and people didn't know he was a good man or a good father, if that helps their kind of how their mindset is towards me or towards his family, because of what seeds he planted of being a good person long ago, and I reaped the benefit of it.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where I've seen it in my life. And another example, and I'm not trying to sound like I've definitely, for anybody out there, I've definitely planted seeds that I've definitely sowed things I wish I wouldn't have.
Oh, same.
And we all have.
All kinds.
Yeah, but I'm trying to get better.
I need some weed killer to spray them out.
Hey, I thought of a good slogan for this would be sowing seeds and pulling weeds.
That's pretty good. Yeah, that is pretty good.
I just love rhymes and alliteration and all that stuff. Anyways, put it on a T-shirt. But anyways, another example. I haven't always got them all right, but I got this one right. When I worked for Verizon Cellular Sales, selling phones at one point. And at that time, I worked in the store and I helped people. And, my job is just to help people, right? I just want to help people. It is a sales gig, but I want to help people. And this lady comes in, and I helped her very often with different things, insurance claims, getting phones, screen protectors, whatever she needed, I just helped her with. Now, that lady is now one of my bosses at work, at where I currently work, at Ellison Sanitary Supply. If I would have treated her badly, if I would have ignored her, if I would have mismanaged those moments or if I would have had an attitude, I probably wouldn't be working there currently.
Yeah.
And I never thought I'd be working where I am. I never thought about it as an opportunity. But if I would have treated someone poorly, if I would have sowed a seed of disrespect, sowed a seed of selfishness there, sowed a seed of mismanagement, I would have reaped it later. But instead, thank God, I sowed a seed of trying to serve somebody, and I got to reap the benefit of it later.
Absolutely.
And I'm not saying like I just get it right all the time, because I don't. But like I'm just saying this is a biblical principle. It's like gravity; you can't get away from it.
That does work.
That it works,
Yeah.
and and this is why Jesus say God can't be mocked, man. You will reap what you sow, and thankfully God's right. And I'm glad I got to reap the benefit of that moment in life where I got it right. You got an example like that?
Yeah.
I didn't ask you that before we started.
You
but I'm
didn't,
sure
so you kind of put me on the spot. No, I mean, I think there's all kinds.
all
of
kinds of
and
ones
bad.
where you got it right.
No, of good and bad. Of good and bad. I mean, something as simple as, I'll give you an example. Just before I came in here today, me and a guy are pretty close, and I won't share his name, although he did say he never listens to this, so it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
But anyway, we've done some basketball related stuff together, just good friends, and we kind of grew up together. A little bit younger than me, and he called me on the way in here, and he was talking about how just randomly called me. I was mowing, and to be honest with you, I declined his call at first because I was busy, but I called him back on the way here, and he just called me to tell me how he felt like I was a big brother to him, and that he appreciated me, and that he wanted me to be a part of something special that's about to go on in his life. And so just out of the kindness and the genuineness that I showed him, you know, he's kind of reflected it back on me and allowing me to do something for him that's going to be very special for him, and I'm very excited to do that. But I think there's all kinds of good and bad examples. I can think of 100 bad examples, so I'm not going to share those, but I can think of those. And you know, all kinds of qualities, you know, it's of sowing.
No, you're right. And I think, I don't know, it's just cool how you can see this played out in your life, especially the good ones. We'd rather have the good ones,
Yeah.
but you learn from the bad ones.
Absolutely.
And you learn what seed not to sow. And, I shouldn't have maybe lost my temper there, or I shouldn't have done that. And you learn from that. But the question for us today is like, if we were going to sow, if we wanted to reap a harvest later, what kind of seeds would we want to sow today? And so we're thinking about that, going through that. And for anybody listening, maybe you're wherever, if you're sitting in your car, if you're at home, watching on YouTube, if you are wanting to reap a harvest of something later, whatever that something is, what would you need to plant today? And so we're going to walk through a couple of those. Gage, you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
Yeah, I don't care to go first. And also, the next verse, so we read a couple verses earlier, but the very next verse in that passage says, "So let us not grow weary in doing good." So in all these things that we're talking about, that we're about to, some qualities that we want to sow, you don't see results super fast always. Now, sometimes you may, but you don't always see them super fast. And so I just want to encourage myself too, and maybe anybody listening or you too, just not grow weary in doing good, right? Because the next verse says we'll reap a harvest at the proper time if we don't quit, if we don't faint, right? So if we don't quit, we win, you know?
That's right.
And so, but yeah, I think there's all kinds of things I want to sow. The first one that comes to mind is I want to sow seeds of compassion, right? And what I mean by that is this: there's a lot of people in this that are just hurting, you know, and some of them are hurting out loud, and you can see it maybe, but some of them are not hurting out loud. You know, some of them it's kind of a quiet, or it's kind of silent. And I never want to pass up an opportunity to show somebody compassion. And so I'll give you an example. There's times I get it wrong, of course, but there are some times I get it right too. The other day I went to see Toby Mack, and I was so excited. I got to meet him. You know, it was just awesome. I was so excited. And so my wife went with me, and she kind of has this allergic reaction right before I don't think I told you this. She kind of has this allergic reaction right before the concert, so I'm freaking out. Am I going to take her home? I got to miss Toby Mack, you know? So I have to take her to get some Benadryl, and on the side of the road is a guy. His name's Lamar, and he asked me for some money, and for some reason, man, I don't know, something about it. I just felt compassion for him. And I said, man, I don't have any money, but I'll buy you something. He said, well, I want to pop in a drink. So I went in there, got him a pop in a drink, and came out, and we got to pray together. And he was just talking about, how much he loved the Lord and his conversation with the Lord. And then, you know what? It encouraged me. I think it encouraged him. But it's because I had compassion on him, man. And I'll tell you a negative time, and this haunts me, man, to this day. I was walking down the street in Knoxville, and there was a lady who, I don't know, she fell on a rough path somehow. I don't know her story, so I'm not going to speculate. And when she walked by me, and I heard her say, "Can you help me?" And man, it broke my heart because I didn't do anything. I just kept walking. And I think about that more times probably than I should. But I just want to have compassion on people, And when I think about that, I'm reminded of that lady that just asked me if I could help her. Because in reality, no, I couldn't. I can't help her. I can't help anybody. It's who I know that can, And so I just want to have compassion. If somebody's hurting, I want to be there for them. And Jesus does the same thing. We see it in Scripture. The Scripture will just stop and say, he went to this person because he had compassion on him, right? And he healed whoever he came in contact with. And I don't know. I just want to be full of compassion like Jesus is.
Yeah, man. And the fact that you still care about that lady shows that you do have compassion. Just to let you know, to encourage you.
Well, that is a little more encouraging.
And just shame off you, by the way, because we all have times we didn't get it right with that, especially, the panhandling stuff on the side of the road, or it's tough situations because then everyone's the same and all that. We don't have to get into all that today, but like the fact that you, and not to like get into your stuff, but you didn't get it right one time, but then you decided I'm going to pray with this guy the next time at least and give him and treat him like a person. So none of us are going to bat 1,000, But
That's true.
But like you've already corrected on what kind of seed you want to sow. So
no, I appreciate that. That's encouraging. No, I don't know, it broke me. But here's the deal. Having everything costs you something, And when that lady tried to stop me, I was on my way to Cruise Farm.
All right. That's what it was.
I was going to get some ice cream. You know what I'm saying? And so,
what flavor you always get?
Any. Yeah, any. I'm no respecter of the flavors at Cruise Farm. Their Fruity Pebbles was good though.
Oh yeah.
But no, I want to have compassion on people, and I want to feel. I just want to feel for them, and I don't plan on changing the world, and maybe I don't think necessarily we can change the world, but we can change our world. You know, the people around me. I just want to have compassion for them and just enter their world. Enter their world because that's what we're here for. And so I want to sow those seeds, and man, that's something we can reap later, right? I want people to have compassion on me too. Yeah. If I'm going through something, I want somebody to have compassion on me as well. So going back to the sowing and the reaping thing. So that's my first one though, is just sowing seeds of compassion.
No, that's beautiful, man. My first one will be sowing seeds of kindness. And kindness, kind of bland, kind of plain, I guess you could say. But like the reason why I said that is because me and Lauren had an experience where we were eating out, actually Memorial Day weekend. And the server was so nice to us there. Like just a very nice, genuine lady. And she was talking to our baby and all kinds of stuff. Like it was a really good experience at a restaurant. Food was fantastic as well, but the service was like, I remember that more than the meal itself, right? And what that made me, like her being kind, made me want to show that back, right? So she sowed the seed first of being thoughtful, of being kind, of being sweet and all that. So it's like, man, I want to do something for her. And the only thing I can really do is, leave a tip, but like I wanted to show kindness back. And so I think that's probably what it does in all of us, right? Is like when someone is kind to you in that way, you want to show that back. Someone sowed that seed and it's like, man, now that's producing something in me where I want to sow that as well. Yeah. And so I want to sow seeds of kindness and where people are, like to see me coming, or they're happy, like, oh man, like the room's better because I'm being kind. And some of that is just being intentional too, right? It's living with my eyes open and seeing the opportunities to be kind. But I think that's almost contagious when you are kind with people. They're like, oh man, I would rather be that. I'd rather make people feel the way they made me feel. I'd rather, like the way the server was to us, I was like, man, I want people to feel that I serve them that well, or that I'm that kind to them as well. So that's I want to make that, I want to copy and paste her kindness to other people.
She get a good tip?
I mean, good's relative.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
I mean, I would think so, but like I'm the one who left it. I can't say that.
I'm just kidding. No, kindness is big, man. And I think you're right. It's kind of one of those things that's reciprocated, right? If somebody's kind to me, then I want to be just as kind to them as they were me. I'm not going to let them outdo me on the kindness. I want to be just as kind to them. And so, yeah, I think that's one of those things that easy to reap. Easy to reap. Once you sow it, it's easy to reap because if you're the person that's kind, and if you're known as the person that's kind, man, everybody's going to want to be kind to you. You know? They just are.
Absolutely.
It's one of those things, and I think it's like this law that you're talking about. That's kind of what this is.
And it's the opposite's true. If you're, probably can't say, I wasn't going to say a bad word, but I was going to say probably a frowned upon word. I don't know. We don't get any bosses with this. If you want to be a butthole to somebody.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know where he was going. Yeah, that's not as bad.
If you're going to be a butthole to somebody, they're not going to want to be kind to you.
No.
And so, like, that's how it works.
Well, even, I don't think I'm the most kind person in the world, but I try to be kind. And I can think of people that are not very kind to me. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think that's intentional. I don't think it's intentional, but it still makes me not want to be as kind. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just one of those things. Like I said, it's just like you're talking about earlier, it being a law kind of deal. That's what it is.
Yeah. Go with your second.
My second, I'm a little partial to this one, is I want to sow seeds of hope. And I picked that because that was the name of a food pantry years ago in Jellicoe.
That's the name of an organization out in the Middle East, my buddy.
Oh, is it really?
Actually, too.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
They won't hear this, don't worry.
Hopefully, no copyright thing. No, I'm just kidding. No, there was a food pantry in Jellicoe called Seeds of Hope. And, we just literally what we wanted to do is we wanted to sow seeds of hope to people. And we wanted to give them food. But more than that, man, we just wanted to show them that there's hope, and that hope is Jesus, and it's the good news of the gospel. And so in my daily life, I want to sow those seeds of hope. I want somebody to know that, hey, I don't know what your situation's like. It may look dire, it may look tough, it may look difficult, but man, there's hope. And you don't have to stay where you are. You don't have to go backwards, because in whatever situation you're in, I don't care, I don't know what it is, whether it's addiction or whether it's anything, man, there's hope. And I want to sow those seeds. And that's something I can reap too. I mean, we can, obviously, there's a hope of making it to heaven one day even, So, that was kind of my one I wanted to really hit home on, because in this world that looks dark at times, very, when you hear of war, and we could go all into that stuff. I just want people to know there's hope. And I want to be able to look at my life and any life as a Christian and see that there's hope in Jesus. Like I said, I'm partial to that one because that was the name of the food pantry in Jellicoe that we were a part of, called Seeds of Hope. So, yeah, I just want to have hope, man.
Yeah. I can't remember where it's at, but Jesus says, hey, in this world you will have trouble, but take heart. I have overcome the world, and that's the hope, man. Stuff is tough. Stuff is difficult. Everyone's got different challenges, whether they want to think on a world scale or if they want to think on just a daily scale of, maybe just people are struggling to make it day to day. But the thing is like, Jesus is the hope.
Absolutely.
And, I think the more you plant those seeds, the more you see those come out in your life too, man. Like the more you remind people that there's hope, the more you're reminded in your soul that there's hope.
Yeah.
And
I think that's a great point.
I think sometimes we forget when the busyness of life and our everyday things of I got to pay my bills, I got to do this, I got to do that, and you get like what refreshes and reminds our soul that there's hope is sometimes when we remind others that there is.
Absolutely.
And
it's a reaping. That's what
you're reaping the hope that you're sharing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a beautiful thing. It's an awesome thing to experience.
Yeah, I just no whatever amount of darkness that we're in, even for myself, there's a light, and there is hope. And I think if you sow that, it not only does it help the other, it builds you too. Yeah, you're right. It kind of reminds you, oh yeah, there is actually hope, right? Yeah. And then when you see somebody overcome something, man, there's hope.
Gosh, yeah. We talk, conversations we've had with different people and their stories is like there's hope. It builds your faith. It builds like God is that good. You know?
That's good. Toby Mac song, God Did It, new album. It's a good one. It kind of reminds me of this.
We'll edit that out.
No, leave that in there. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, that's my seeds of hope. Let's hear your fourth. Hear your second one.
I want to sow seeds of encouragement.
I think you do that pretty good.
Thanks. I didn't ask for that. I know, fish me a compliment when I say this. No, I want to sow seeds of encouragement, man. I heard John Maxwell say it this way. Encouraging someone else is putting courage into them.
Yeah.
And I like that picture. I like the idea of someone, like I'm putting courage into somebody to face whatever they got going on, to make it through whatever they're facing, putting courage into somebody to, to just take the next step. I want to encourage somebody that they're on the right path. I want to encourage somebody that they're, hey man, you got this, or encourage somebody, man, I see you. Encourage them and let them know that you're there, and I see I'm for you. I want to just put courage into people, and that's a cool thing. Courage is just the ability to face whatever you're going towards, right? Whether you're afraid, it's putting courage, putting bravery in people. And so I'm really, I think building up people that are courageous, not that it's that all on me necessarily, but I want to try to plant those seeds in others where they can walk out courageously, walk out encouraged, walk out built up instead of torn down.
And the Bible says there's life and death in the power of the tongue, right? And so I want to speak life to people. I don't want to speak death. I want to speak life to people. And when you're encouraging somebody, that's what you're doing. You're speaking life into them.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you're behind them on a hill, and you're just kind of pushing them up a hill a little bit.
Right.
That's kind of the picture I have in my head of encouraging somebody is like they're going a little bit on their own, but no, you're there. And if they fall, you're there to catch them. You know what I'm saying? And as they're taking the steps up, you're there pushing them to go too. And so, no, I think that's a big one.
Absolutely.
Having encouragement. And then, again, once you do that, people want to do that to you too.
And that's exactly, you reap what you sow. And I believe if you sow that encouragement, if you're a person in need of it, it's coming your way.
It's coming, yeah, absolutely.
And because we could all use a little bit of encouragement time to time.
Absolutely.
And I think if you're in need of encouragement or kindness or hope or anything, try sowing it. And watch the harvest of that come your way. Because God won't be mocked. You'll reap what you sow,
Absolutely. And that's a great challenge, not just maybe for listening or just for me too and for you too, Gunnar, is what are some other things in our lives that we just want to sow so that we can reap? What are some things we can plant so that we can harvest, you know?
And I don't want this to sound like we're given to get.
Sure.
That's not and that could easily be, people can easily try to manipulate things for the wrong motives, and that's not how God works. But like if you want, the input or the output is very closely correlated to the input.
It is.
That's kind of like math talk for you.
I love it. That's right down my alley.
Yeah.
You're right, it is.
And so if you want the right output, you got to put that in the right input.
Yeah.
And so we encourage you to do that. We encourage you to, think of some seeds you want to plant. Think of some blessings that you might want to reap later. And so what do you want to plant? So that's what we're going to go with. Any last thoughts, Gage?
No, I think that's great. Going into, it's kind of hard sometimes when we're thinking of topics, but I believe this one's helped me grow, to be honest with you.
No, dude, that's the goal, man.
Yeah, I think it's helped me grow.
Yeah, I want to see what I can plant to reap later in life.
Absolutely.
So, awesome. Thank you so much, man. You're the best.
Thank you. And thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening and watching, whatever you're doing. Hey, if this was helpful to you, I hope it was. And if it was helpful to you, share it with somebody. Share it with someone who you thinks maybe they can think about what seeds they want to plant in their life and maybe in the lives of others. Thank you so much. And until next time, keep on getting better.